Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 482. I'm Phil Graham. Welcome to August. That's the first episode in August of 2026. And today we're going to be talking about whether you might be training Meta and Facebook and Instagram to actually find the wrong people with your ads. I got a question for you. What if Facebook, Instagram / Meta, what if they're doing exactly what you told them to do, but it's still not finding the right people? It's finding the wrong people, the people that are costly, that are not converting. A lot of advertisers blame the audience or the creatives or Facebook's algorithm, and sometimes that can be true, but a lot of times it's not. Sometimes the real problem is the signals that you are giving to Meta. And so in today's episode, I want to explain how many advertisers unintentionally train Meta to generate expensive leads that don't convert and actions that they don't even want. So it should be a really helpful episode today, whether you are new or experienced with ads. Before we dive into that, if you guys are needing any help with your ads, whether that's one-on-one consulting, which I think is the best way in the world to learn this stuff, or maybe you don't want to learn, you basically just want somebody to run it for you, somebody you can trust. For either one of those things, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. We can set up a short Zoom call, and I would love to connect with you. So I want to jump right in and keep this episode short, sweet, full of value, and very actionable as usual. Are you training Meta to find the wrong people? So let's start by saying this. Meta optimizes for the actions that you tell it to, the actions that you select. They don't automatically know what a great customer looks like. What they do is they look for people who are more likely to complete the event that you choose than others. And the important thing is it's the event that you choose. So that event could be a lead. It could be a page view. It might be a purchase. It could be a booked call, a registration, or any other kind of conversion. So there's a lot of different events that you can choose. But here's the thing. The easiest person to convert is many times not the most valuable person to the business. In fact, I don't know if you have ever had this happen before. There's been plenty of situations where people run ads and they get a bunch of leads and the leads were horrible. They were really low cost. And so they were really excited that they were getting all these cheap leads until they realized that it's like these leads were a total waste of time. So even if they costed 10 cents, you wasted 10 cents and you wasted time. Not good. Not that most leads cost 10 cents. Most of them are more than that anyway, but they can be very costly, both in time and money. So more leads can sometimes be teaching Meta the wrong lesson. So if you are out there running like lead ads and getting tons of cheap leads that hardly ever convert or ever show up for a booked call or anything like that, you know what Meta sees? They see that the lead form was completed, which was really the main goal. And so to Facebook, to Meta, it looks like a successful result. And so what are they probably going to do? They're probably going to go out and try and find similar people to that. But if it was all a bunch of cheap, crappy leads that never converted, do you really want more of them? Unless you send more or better information back to Meta, they don't have a clue. Like they don't know what happened after the fact unless you have certain things in place technically, which a lot of people don't. What happens to a lot of advertisers is their system continues finding more people similar to those low quality leads. And that is something that can be very, very costly. So there's a number of things you can do to try and prevent this or at least improve what you get back from Meta. First, you want to look beyond the initial conversion. It's fine running lead ads, but you don't want to just track the lead. You want to track what happens after the lead. Does it become a purchase or not? Did that lead become an appointment? Did they actually show up for a call if you're doing booked calls? Who was qualified and who wasn't? And if somebody did purchase or you got a lot of purchases, and maybe you have different price points, which ones created the higher value per customer? These are all signals and data that you can send back to Meta, which can help them know more of who's doing what after the click, after even the initial conversion. And the more info and correct data that you give them, the better it is. I think probably the easiest and best thing to do can be just changing your conversion event so it really matches what you really, really want. Do you want leads? Yes, you do for most of you. But what do you really want? You want somebody to give you money for a product or a service. You want a purchase. For some of you guys, it might be smart to just focus on the purchase conversion because that's pretty straightforward. They either buy or they don't. And Facebook knows who buys and who doesn't if you have all your stuff set up correctly. Now, it's more powerful if you have a more robust system where you're giving Meta full visibility with everything that happens on your site. That's more powerful. But for some of you guys, it might just be easier to just do purchase conversions. Now, I do lead conversions, purchase conversions, other things, even page views, even add to cart as a conversion. But again, there's a lot of things that have to work with that, or else you might run into some issues. So you got to be careful. The best setup is really going to be variable, and it's going to depend on your type of business, how much data you have, how much data you share, and many other factors. So I can't just give one thing that everybody can do. But in general, if you're running lead ads or whatever the case may be, and you're getting a bunch of crap leads and you're not really doing anything else and it doesn't get better, then you might just be sending the wrong signal to Facebook. And you might want to try changing that into a purchase conversion, because that's probably the easiest way to at least make a change. Because remember, cheap results can really be misleading. The more leads you get, and if Facebook thinks that's really what's most important to you, the more cheap leads you get, the more they're probably going to try and give you because it looks to be working in their system. Obviously, there's some exceptions to some of this stuff too. Keep that in mind. But the question I want you guys to ask yourself is, whatever you're getting now or were getting in the past when you're running ads, ask yourself this: if Facebook generated hundreds or even thousands more people exactly like the people that completed whatever your purchase event was, would you be happy? And if the answer is yes, then you're probably on point with your purchase event. If your answer is no or hell no, then that's where you really got to think about making some changes, because you might be sending the wrong signal. Now, obviously, it could be something else. It could be your messaging, your targeting, your creatives, the site speed. It could be so many other things too. But many times before changing your audience or creatives or anything else or rebuilding campaigns, you might want to just test changing the conversion optimization and your goal and what you're focused on and the data you're sending Meta, and then see what happens with that result. So it's really important, you guys. I hope you really put this into action. If you have questions, let me know. philgrahamdigital.com is the website. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. Episode 482 is in the books, my friends. Next week, I want to talk about what your Facebook ad comments are trying to tell you. And I want to tell you something that just blows my mind when it comes to comments. So make sure you check that out next week. Otherwise, I hope you have a phenomenally great week, and I will talk to you on next week's episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.